Okay, so this doesn't feel like enough for a whole video, but it's something I haven't talked about. So because there was never any money, um, many of us had insurance through like Medicaid or whatever because nobody hardly made any money, but several of us had insurance through the agency that came out of our paychecks every week or whatever, every 2 weeks. I think we got paid bi-weekly. And our insurance, our medical, our dental was constantly getting shut off. Like we would never know when we could go to an appointment and when we couldn't, um, because we never knew when we had insurance. Uh, Jeff also really made Braden to feel like he had like mental health issues that he needed to address, and that he needed to go to a mental health provider. But then anytime Braden would attempt to do that, he would yell and scream at him about not being present, or not being there when he was supposed to be there, not allowing him to take time off to go. Anytime he would come back from doctor's offices, it would be this whole ordeal about how he wasn't where he was supposed to be and wasn't at the center. I know for me, I couldn't take time off at all, because I felt like he used those opportunities at times to especially bother and harass the staff because I wasn't there to catch him. So I was working 5 to 7 days a week because we had programming on the weekend to make sure I could be there to supervise the staff, but not so much the staff and what they were doing, but to be the protector between either the community and them, like I said, or him and them. There were many times where people had applied for PTO, like followed the process, did the thing, got it, applied, and then when they didn't come into work on that day, he would have a fit and call them and yell and scream and demand them to come in, or yell and scream at me and make me demand them to come in when in fact they had approved PTO. And then they would still come in though, because he would start threatening their jobs. And so even if you took time off, it was never secure that you could really have time off. On the occasions I did try to take vacations, typically he would call me all during it, so it didn't even seem like much point in taking it, or he would say I couldn't go on certain days. He needed me to come in. There was an emergency, I had to be there. I was second in command, I needed to be present. What else? I talked about what happened after my dad passed away. And the funny thing is, like, it was a lot of very typical narcissistic behavior, like do all these terrible things to us, but like buy us lunch, or talk to us like we were the only person that he could count on and that we were so special and so important to the agency, and then do something awful. This very like violent sort of like alienation of affection, like nice sometimes, nasty other times, scary all the time. And so you were always on your toes. It was like a constant like cortisone rush because you were constantly nervous about what was going to happen next, on top of the obnoxious stuff that we dealt with from like the racist people that would come into the center and give us a hard time. I tried my best to stay on his really good side. I spent a lot of time in his office. He often wanted me to work from his office, sitting at a table next to him to keep him comfy, to talk to him, talk him through things. And I realized that it made sense for me to stay as cool with him as humanly possible so that I could use the things that he would like, because he would tell me, like, I'm going to put this picture behind Cass so it drives her crazy. I'm going to, make Braden think that he didn't turn in his paperwork and he really did. And instead of challenging it, which would just put me in the position where I was at his mercy, I would just listen and co-sign and shake my head and then talk to the staff, be able to talk to the staff in a way to advise them how to not get kind of caught in the trap that he was trying to set for them. And that's what my last probably year and a half at the agency was, a bunch of that, waiting until we had enough to go forward to make it stop.